And guest Trish. It's my pleasure tonight to welcome John, who is going to be presenting his 7th speech from the Competent Communicator Manual, which is about researching the topic. One of the challenges with preparing and delivering a speech that is not a personal speech is getting your research right. You need to support the main points of the arguments with statistics, facts, testimony, stories, anecdotes, examples, visual aids. And that is what John is going to have to do tonight. John's objectives are to collect information about your topic from numerous sources, to carefully support your points and opinions with specific facts, examples and illustrations gathered through research. John's personal objectives are to control his nerves and to eliminate ums and ahs. Previous recommendations for John, and we are expected to build on previous examples and learn from those and develop our skills. So previous recommendations have included slowing down a little and using the stage more, preferably by having fewer notes to look at and to be tight to the lecturing with. The title of John's speech tonight is Bullies in the Workplace. I'm looking forward to the speech. John is certainly not destitute of speaking abilities. Please welcome John.
Bullies in the work. You would have found bullies at school and at play during your salad days. But bullies at work? Surely not. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, bullies in the workplace. Yes, they exist. Whilst we live in an era where we are bombarded by superior management ideologies such as empathy, leadership, mentoring, etc. Research has shown that organizational psychopaths are infiltrating into most number of businesses, which having a total of 1% of the total population. My first encounter was when I was rendering a presentation at my work. All was going well until one of my superiors stood up and undermined me publicly. I did not know at that moment the gravity of the situation, but on subsequent reflection and events which happened that did not materialize in my favor proved that this person was systematically discrediting my efforts, which I had worked hard for and held dear. Destructive men and women are like working with monsters. But the irony of this is that they are hard to pin down. Gardiner Moss, in his research in 2004, states that these organizational psychopaths are hard to surprisingly put down due to their chameleon personalities. These individuals have mastered the art of acting perfectly normal to the point of charming, whilst wreaking havoc with people's life in their workplace, making high achievers feel like wimps. Research also shows that these people are exceedingly good at telling people of what they want to hear. However, it may not be the same because it's going to be quite different from what they tell others. Dr. Andrea Quinn from the University of Queensland states that these organizational psychopaths are charming and agreeable, that even their bosses may find it hard to realize and admit that the person who lavishly supports them is the problem for people productivity in their organization. So how do you overcome this cunning, manipulative, untrustworthy, unethical, parasitic, and remorseless behavior? First of all, be aware and know that these types of people exist in organizations. Be realistic, reflect, and think for yourself. Be your worst critic. Then your gut feeling will warn you to keep away. Keep your distance from such people. Build your support network so that people of credibility will vouch for your performance. Last but not the least, walk away if it's eating into your personal life, because nothing is so important than you. Thank you.
Toastmasters and guest Trish, congratulations John on a very interesting speech tonight about bullies in the workplace. John had done the research and the preparation, and he had specific quotes and examples, and he also quoted the sources. So very well done, John. I thought it was excellent use of PowerPoint. He had very simple slides, there was no fancy transitions, so he wasn't trying to show off his PowerPoint expertise. There was black on white text, which is really simple to read, and there weren't too many words on each slide. So I thought that it was a nice, simple, effective use of PowerPoint. I felt too that John has learned from previous recommendations. He did slow down, and he was also not tied to the lectern because he wasn't using notes. And it's reasonably difficult in this setting to be able to use the stage while using PowerPoint, and I felt that John did that pretty effectively. I have a couple of recommendations. Firstly, I felt that the use of the word psychopath was important, and I felt that John should have defined that. Now, my understanding is it means someone who doesn't have any empathy, which might or might not be right or full, and I felt that John should have defined that. And secondly, he finished with a quote by Abraham Lincoln, and I felt that John should have read that aloud or stayed silent while the rest of us read it to ourselves. Instead of showing the quote, saying something else. We can only do one thing at once. We can listen or we can read ourselves, but we can't do two things at once. So they're the only recommendations I have for John. John's objectives tonight were to collect information about your topic from numerous sources, to carefully support your points and opinions with specific facts, examples and illustrations gathered through research. His personal objectives were to control his nerves and eliminate ums and ahs. I felt that John achieved all of those objectives, plus he has learned from previous recommendations. Very well done, John.